It's your coach, it's your friend, it's the hybrid checking in.
So, I pull sumo, should I also train conventional? That's the question of the week. Check out my sponsors, KingKongApparel.com and AndersonPowerlifting.com. So in reference to the question, I definitely believe you should pull conventional as well as sumo. You know, I think that the lifts basically complement one another. And in this video, you'll see me pulling both ways, both conventional and sumo. When I do pull conventional, a lot of times I like to use either deficits or utilize the bands. Just of course, one is going to help you off the floor, and of course the bands is going to challenge you more on the lockout and really just pushing your hips forward. I also like to use them on sumo, but it makes sumo pulling a lot harder for me. These I just have wrapped under my foot, and I think this is a great method. These are the short bands from Elite FTS. Now, the reasons I would say that you should utilize the opposite method, and just as a point of reference, I would say you should be no more than 30 to 40 pounds difference in your conventional and sumo pull. So if it's a greater disparity than that between the two lifts, I would say whichever lift is lagging, you definitely want to try and work on that, as you probably have room to improve your main lift by getting that lagging lift up. So for me, I pull sumo, of course, and conventional lifts help to strengthen my lower back. They help me to learn to really strain, as there's nothing comfortable about pulling conventional in my mind. You know, it's always a struggle for me. Every rep is tough, but I think that translates over to sumo, and that, you know, with sumo it's just very tough off the floor, but once you get it going, the lift is pretty smooth. So guys, I definitely want to warn you, as you are doing or practicing pulling the opposite method, always exercise great form. Be very cognizant of your form, as this isn't your main, you know, way of pulling. You may be more susceptible to injury, especially if you're trying to, you know, possibly shorten a gap. You know, maybe right now you're 80 or 90 pounds difference in between your, you know, your sumo and conventional. So definitely, you know, don't, you know, do anything crazy to try and just, you know, shorten that gap in between the two. Another tip is that you definitely want to, you know, learn to pull the opposite of your main lift, but you also want to make sure, you know, prior to the meet or your competition, that you definitely put in enough time on your main lift. Especially with you being a sumo puller, you want to make sure that you really hone in your form and technique, because even if you know you strengthen up your different weak points that may be lagging due to you having a weak conventional pull, if your form, you know, is off on sumo because you've been pulling and putting in so much time conventional, then you'll still miss lifts that you could, you know, be able to lift normally. So just remember that, you know, you want to make sure that you still put in the time on your main lift. So actually, if I was getting ready to compete and, you know, I've been practicing conventional, I would say 6 weeks out, you want to, you know, basically eliminate all conventional and just focus on your main lift of pulling sumo, or, you know, vice versa. As always, hope this video gave you a few tips, helped to answer your question. As always, please leave your questions, subscribe, comment, send me any messages of other questions you may want answered. I'll be sure and answer those one per week. Thanks for watching.